The Arrow and the Song. I shot an arrow into the air. It fell to earth, I know not where. For so swiftly it flew, the sight could not follow it in its flight. I breathed a song into the air. It fell to earth, I know not where. For who has sight so keen and strong that it can follow the flight of song? Long, long afterward, in an oak, I found the arrow still unbroke, and the song, from beginning to end, I found again in the heart of a friend. Henry W. Longfellow. Little Things. Little drops of water, little grains of sand, make the mighty ocean and the pleasant land. Thus the little minutes, humble though they be, make the mighty ages of eternity. Ebenezer Cobham Brewer. He prayeth best. Farewell, farewell, but this I tell to thee, thou wedding guest. He prayeth well who loveth well, both man and bird and beast. He prayeth best who loveth best all things, both great and small. For the dear God who loveth us, He made and loveth all. Samuel T. Coleridge. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. When the glorious sun is set, when the grass with dew is wet, then you show your little light, twinkle, twinkle, all the night. In the dark blue sky you keep, and often through my curtains peep, for you never shut your eye till the sun is in the sky. As your bright and tiny spark guides the traveller in the dark, though I know not what you are, twinkle, twinkle, little star. Jane Taylor. Pippa. The year's at the spring, the day's in the morn, morning's at 7, the hillside's dew pearled, the lark's on the wing, the snail's on the thorn, God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. Robert Browning. The days of the month. 30 days hath September, April, June, and November. February has 28 alone. All the rest have 31, excepting leap year, that's the time, when February's days are 29. Old Song. True royalty. There was never a queen like Balkis, from here to the wide world's end. But Balkis talked to a butterfly as you would talk to a friend. There was never a king like Solomon, not since the world began, but Solomon talked to a butterfly as a man would talk to a man. She was Queen of Sabea, and he was Asia's lord, but both of 'em talked to butterflies when they took their walks abroad. Rudyard Kipling. My Shadow. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me from the heels up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow, not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. For he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball, and he sometimes gets so little that there's none of him at all. He hasn't got a notion of how children ought to play, and can only make a fool of me in every sort of way. He stays so close beside me, he's a coward, you can see. I'd think shame to stick to nursie as that shadow sticks to me. One morning, very early, before the sun was up, I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. But my lazy little shadow, like an arrant sleepy-head, had stayed at home behind me, and was fast asleep in bed. Robert Louis Stevenson. Little White Lily. Little White Lily sat by a stone, drooping and waiting till the sun shone. Little White Lily sunshine has fed. Little White Lily is lifting her head. Little White Lily said, "It is good." Little White Lily's clothing and food. Little White Lily dressed like a bride, shining with whiteness, and crowned beside. Little White Lily drooping with pain, waiting and waiting for the wet rain. Little White Lily holdeth her cup, rain is fast falling and filling it up. Little White Lily said, "Good again, when I am thirsty to have nice rain. Now I am stronger, now I am cool. Heat cannot burn me, my veins are so full." Little White Lily smells very sweet, on her head sunshine, rain at her feet. Thanks to the sunshine, thanks to the rain, Little White Lily is happy again. George MacDonald. How the Leaves Came Down. "I'll tell you how the leaves came down," the great tree to his children said. "You're getting sleepy, Yellow and Brown. Yes, very sleepy, Little Red. It is quite time to go to bed." "Ah!" begged each silly, pouting leaf, "let us a little longer stay. Dear Father Tree, behold our grief. 'Tis such a very pleasant day, we do not want to go away." So for just one more merry day, to the great tree the leaflets clung, frolicked and danced and had their way, upon the autumn breezes swung, whispering all their sports among. Perhaps the great tree will forget, and let us stay until the spring, if we all beg and coax and fret. But the great tree did no such thing, he smiled to hear their whispering. "Come, children, all to bed," he cried, and ere the leaves could urge their prayer, he shook his head, and far and wide, fluttering and rustling everywhere, down sped the leaflets through the air. I saw them, on the ground they lay, golden and red, a huddled swarm, waiting till one from far away, white bedclothes heaped upon her arm, should come to wrap them safe and warm. The great bare tree looked down and smiled. "Good night, dear little leaves," he said. And from below each sleepy child replied, "Good night," and murmured, "It is so nice to go to bed." Susan Coolidge. Wee Willie. Wee Willie Winkie rins through the town, upstairs and downstairs in his nicht gown, tirlin' at the window, cryin' at the lock, "Are the weans in their bed? For it's now 10 o'clock." "Hey, Willie Winkie, are ye comin' ben?" The cat's singin' gay thrums to the sleepin' hen. The dog's speldered on the floor and disna gie a cheep, but here's a waucriff laddie that winna fa' asleep. "Onything but sleep, ye rogue, glow'rin' like the moon, Rattlin' in an airn jug wi' an airn spoon, Rumblin' tumblin' round about, crowin' like a cock, Skirlin' like a kenna what, wauknin' sleepin' folk. Hey, Willie Winkie, the wean's in a creel, Wamblin' off a body's knee like a very eel, Ruggin' at the cat's lug and ravellin' a her thrums. Hey, Willie Winkie, see there he comes. Weary is the mither that has a story wean, a wee strumpy stousie that canna rin his lane, that has a battle aye wi' sleep before he'll close an e'e, but a kiss frae off his rosy lips gies strength anew to me. William Miller. Wynken, Blynken, and Nod. Wynken, Blynken, and Nod one night sailed off in a wooden shoe, sailed on a river of crystal light into a sea of dew. "Where are you going, and what do you wish?" the old moon asked the three. "We have come to fish for the herring fish that live in this beautiful sea. Nets of silver and gold have we," said Wynken, Blynken, and Nod. The old moon laughed and sang a song as they rocked in the wooden shoe, and the wind that sped them all night long ruffled the waves of dew. The little stars were the herring fish that lived in the beautiful sea. "Now cast your nets wherever you wish, never afeard are we," so cried the stars to the fishermen three. winkin', blinkin', and nod. All night long their nets they threw to the stars in the twinkling foam, then down from the skies came the wooden shoe, bringing the fishermen home. 'Twas all so pretty a sail, it seemed as if it could not be, and some folk thought 'twas a dream they'd dreamed, of sailing that beautiful sea. But I shall name you the fishermen three, Wynken, Blynken, and Nod. Wynken and Blynken are two little eyes, and Nod is a little head, and the wooden shoe that sailed the skies is a wee one's trundle bed. So shut your eyes while mother sings of wonderful sights that be, and you shall see the beautiful things as you rock on the misty sea, where the old shoe rocked the fishermen three, Wynken, Blynken, and Nod. Eugene Field. The Duel. The gingham dog and the calico cat side by side on the table sat. 'Twas 12:30, and what do you think? Nor one nor t'other had slept a wink. The old Dutch clock and the Chinese plate appeared to know as sure as fate there was going to be a terrible spat. I wasn't there, I simply state what was told to me by the Chinese plate. The gingham dog went bow wow wow, and the calico cat replied meow. The air was littered an hour or so with bits of gingham and calico, while the old Dutch clock in the chimney place up with its hands before its face, for it always dreaded a family row. Now mind, I am only telling you what the old Dutch clock declares is true. The Chinese plate looked very blue, and wailed, "Oh dear, what shall we do?" But the gingham dog and the calico cat wallowed this way and tumbled that, employing every tooth and claw in the awfullest way you ever saw. And oh, how the gingham and calico flew! Don't fancy I exaggerate. I got my views from the Chinese plate. Next morning, where the two had sat, they found no trace of the dog or cat. And some folks think unto this day that burglars stole the pair away. But the truth about the cat and the pup is this: they ate each other up. Now what do you really think of that? The old Dutch clock, it told me so, and that is how I came to know. Eugene Field. The Boy Who Never Told a Lie. Once there was a little boy, with curly hair and pleasant eye, a boy who always told the truth, and never, never told a lie. And when he trotted off to school, the children all about would cry, "There goes the curly-headed boy, the boy that never tells a lie." And everybody loved him so, because he always told the truth, that every day as he grew up, 'twas said, "There goes the honest youth." And when the people that stood near would turn to ask the reason why, the answer would be always this: because he never tells a lie. Love between brothers and sisters. Whatever brawls disturb the street, there should be peace at home. Where sisters dwell and brothers meet, quarrels should never come. Birds in their little nests agree, and 'tis a shameful sight when children of one family fall out and chide and fight. Isaac Watts. If I had but two little wings. If I had but two little wings, and were a little feathery bird, to you I'd fly, my dear. But thoughts like these are idle things, and I stay here. But in my sleep to you I fly, I'm always with you in my sleep, the world is all one's own. And then one wakes, and where am I? All alone. Samuel T. Coleridge. A Farewell. My fairest child, I have no song to give you. No lark could pipe to skies so dull and gray. Yet, ere we part, one lesson I can leave you for every day. Be good, sweet maid, and let who will be clever. Do noble things, not dream them all day long. and so make life, death, and that vast forever one grand, sweet song. Charles Kingsley. The Village Blacksmith. Under a spreading chestnut tree the village smithy stands. The smith, a mighty man is he, with large and sinewy hands, and the muscles of his brawny arms are strong as iron bands. His hair is crisp and black and long, his face is like the tan. His brow is wet with honest sweat, he earns whate'er he can, and looks the whole world in the face, for he owes not any man. Week in, week out, from morn till night, you can hear his bellows blow. You can hear him swing his heavy sledge with measured beat and slow, like a sexton ringing the village bell when the evening sun is low. And children coming home from school look in at the open door. They love to see the flaming forge and hear the bellows roar, and catch the burning sparks that fly like chaff from a threshing floor. He goes on Sunday to the church and sits among his boys. He hears the parson pray and preach. He hears his daughter's voice, singing in the village choir, and it makes his heart rejoice. It sounds to him like her mother's voice, singing in paradise. He needs must think of her once more, how in the grave she lies, and with his hard, rough hand he wipes a tear out of his eyes. Toiling, rejoicing, sorrowing, onward through life he goes. Each morning sees some task begin, each evening sees it close. Something attempted, something done, has earned a night's repose. Thanks, thanks to thee, my worthy friend, for the lesson thou hast taught. Thus at the flaming forge of life our fortunes must be wrought. Thus on its sounding anvil shaped each burning deed and thought. Henry W. Longfellow. Sweet and Low. Sweet and low, sweet and low, wind of the western sea. Low, low, breathe and blow, wind of the western sea. Over the rolling waters go, come from the dropping moon, and blow, blow him again to me, while my little one, my pretty one, sleeps. Sleep and rest, father will come to thee soon. Rest, rest on mother's breast, father will come to thee soon. Father will come to his babe in the nest, silver sails all out of the west, under the silver moon. Sleep, my little one, sleep, my pretty one, sleep. Alfred Tennyson. The Violet. Down in a green and shady bed a modest violet grew. Its stalk was bent, it hung its head as if to hide from view. And yet it was a lovely flower, no colours bright and fair. It might have graced a rosy bower instead of hiding there. Yet there it was content to bloom, in modest tints arrayed, and there diffused its sweet perfume within the silent shade. Then let me to the valley go, this pretty flower to see, that I may also learn to grow in sweet humility. Jane Taylor. The Rainbow. My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began, so is it now I am a man, so be it when I shall grow old, or let me die. The child is father of the man, and I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety. William Wordsworth. The Nightingale and the Glowworm. A nightingale that all day long had cheered the village with his song, nor yet at eve his note suspended, nor yet when eventide was ended began to feel, as well he might, the keen demands of appetite. When looking eagerly around, he spied far off upon the ground a something shining in the dark, and knew the glowworm by his spark. So, stooping down from hawthorn top, he thought to put him in his crop. The worm, aware of his intent, harangued him thus, right eloquent. "Did you admire my lamp," quoth he, "as much as I your minstrelsy? You would abhor to do me wrong, as much as I to spoil your song. For 'twas the selfsame power divine taught you to sing and me to shine, that you with music, I with light, might beautify and cheer the night." The songster heard his short oration, and, warbling out his approbation, released him, as my story tells, and found a supper somewhere else. William Cowper. The Owl. When cats run home, and light is come, and dew is cold upon the ground, and the far-off stream is dumb, and the whirring sail goes round, and the whirring sail goes round, alone and warming his 5 wits, the white owl in the belfry sits. When merry milkmaids click the latch, and rarely smells the new-mown hay, and the cock hath sung beneath the thatch twice or thrice his roundelay, twice or thrice his roundelay, alone and warming his 5 wits, the white owl in the belfry sits. Alfred Tennyson. The Butterfly and the Bee. Methought I heard a butterfly say to a labouring bee, "Thou hast no colours of the sky on painted wings like me." "Poor child of vanity, those dyes and colours bright and rare," with mild reproof the bee replies, "are all beneath my care. Content I toil from morn to eve, and scorning idleness, to tribes of gaudy sloth I leave the vanity of dress." William Lyle Bowles. Robert of Lincoln. Merrily swinging on briar and weed, near to the nest of his little dame, over the mountain side or mead, Robert of Lincoln is telling his name. Bobolink, bobolink, spink, spank, spink, snug and safe in this nest of ours, hidden among the summer flowers. Chee, chee, chee. Robert of Lincoln is gaily dressed, wearing a bright black wedding coat. White are his shoulders and white his crest. Hear him call in his merry note, bobolink, bobolink, spink, spank, spink. Look what a nice new coat is mine, sure there was never a bird so fine. Chee, chee, chee. Robert of Lincoln's Quaker wife, pretty and quiet, with plain brown wings, passing at home a patient life, broods in the grass while her husband sings. Bobolink, bobolink, spink, spank, spink. Brood, kind creature, you need not fear thieves and robbers while I am here. Chee, chee, chee. Modest and shy as a nun is she, one weak chirp is her only note. Braggart and prince of braggarts is he, pouring boasts from his little throat. Bobolink, bobolink, spink, spank, spink. Never was I afraid of man. Catch me, cowardly knaves, if you can. Chee, chee, chee. 6 white eggs on a bed of hay, flecked with purple, a pretty sight. There, as the mother sits all day, Robert is singing with all his might. Bobolink, bobolink, spink, spank, spink. Nice good wife that never goes out, keeping house while I frolic about. Chee, chee, chee. Soon as the little ones chip the shell, 6 wide mouths are open for food. Robert of Lincoln bestirs him well, gathering seeds for the hungry brood. Bobolink, bobolink, spink, spank, spink. This new life is likely to be hard for a gay young fellow like me. Chee, chee, chee. Robert of Lincoln at length is made sober with work and silent with care. Off is his holiday garment laid, half forgotten that merry air. Bobolink, bobolink, spink, spank, spink. Nobody knows but my mate and I where our nest and our nestlings lie. Chee, chee, chee. Summer wanes, the children are grown, fun and frolic no more he knows. Robert of Lincoln's a humdrum drone, off he flies and we sing as he goes. Bobolink, bobolink, spink, spank, spink. When you can pipe that merry old strain, Robert of Lincoln, come back again. Chee, chee, chee. William Cullen Bryant. Song of Life. A traveller on a dusty road strewed acorns on the lea, and one took root and sprouted up and grew into a tree. Love sought its shade at evening time to breathe its early vows, and age was pleased in heights of noon to bask beneath its boughs. The dormouse loved its dangling twigs, the sweet birds music bore. It stood a glory in its place, a blessing evermore. A little spring had lost its way amid the grass and fern. A passing stranger scooped a well where weary men might turn. He walled it in, and hung with care a ladle on the brink. He thought not of the deed he did, but judged that toil might drink. He passed again, and lo, the well by summer never dried, had cooled 10,000 parched tongues, and saved a life beside. A nameless man, amid the crowd that thronged the daily mart, let fall a word of hope and love, unstudied from the heart. A whisper on the tumult thrown, a transitory breath. It raised a brother from the dust, it saved a soul from death. O germ, O fount, O word of love, O thought at random cast! Ye were but little at the first, but mighty at the last. Charles Mackay. A Boy's Song. Where the pools are bright and deep, where the grey trout lies asleep, up the river and o'er the lea, that's the way for Billy and me. Where the blackbird sings the latest, where the hawthorn blooms the sweetest, where the nestlings chirp and flee, that's the way for Billy and me. Where the mowers mow the cleanest, where the hay lies thick and greenest, there to trace the homeward bee, that's the way for Billy and me. Where the hazel bank is steepest, where the shadow falls the deepest, where the clustering nuts fall free, that's the way for Billy and me. Why the boys should drive away little sweet maidens from the play, or love to banter and fight so well, that's the thing I never could tell. But this I know, I love to play, through the meadow, among the hay, up the water and o'er the lea, that's the way for Billy and me. James Hogg. Buttercups and Daisies. Buttercups and daisies, oh, the pretty flowers, coming ere the springtime, to tell of sunny hours. While the trees are leafless, while the fields are bare, buttercups and daisies spring up here and there. Ere the snowdrop peepeth, ere the crocus bold, ere the early primrose opens its paly gold, somewhere on the sunny bank buttercups are bright, somewhere 'mong the frozen grass peeps the daisy white. Little hardy flowers, like to children poor, playing in their sturdy health by their mother's door, purple with the north wind, yet alert and bold, fearing not and caring not, though they be a cold. What to them is winter? What are stormy showers? Buttercups and daisies are these human flowers. He who gave them hardships and a life of care, gave them likewise hardy strength and patient hearts to bear. Mary Howitt. The Rainbow. Triumphal arch that fills the sky when storms prepare to part, I ask not proud philosophy to teach me what thou art. Still seem, as to my childhood's sight, a midway station given, for happy spirits to alight betwixt the earth and heaven. Thomas Campbell.